So, why is there so much water in it? Ah! All right, so we're cleaning up the wiring on the Festiva. I say cleaning up, we're just organizing. It's still not going to be perfect, or even close to perfect. Eventually, we're going to get rid of this junk, and I'm going to be running like an actual fuse box, which is probably going to be a cheapo fuse box because I'm on a budget. But like I said before, we want to do a bulkhead connector later. But right now, we're just trying to make everything work. These wires gave me a ton of issue. At one point, I had like 3 zip ties holding this thing on so I could get home. But my resistors are back here for my pull-up resistors for the crank and the cam signal. So we're going to go ahead and snip it somewhere in this region, and we're going to put the new pigtail on, because this is a connector off like a Ford Expedition alternator or something. I don't remember, but it worked. And then I ordered a pigtail for the TPS because I didn't have one, and we're going to go ahead and get this on, and then this will get mounted back over there. Everything will get all ran and tucked nice and neat. I'm going to have to zip tie the wires or whatever up to the back of the bumper support to run it across, because the turbo is going to be chilling here now. And I can't tuck it up underneath because the turbo is like right there. So we're going to have to change a few things, nothing major. We still got to build that rear mount for the trans. We're not done with that yet. And we're going to have to do some kind of a downpipe setup. I don't have my coolant neck yet. I'm still waiting on it to get here from Florida, where I had to order it from. But we did get the TPS. Ouch. Those rivets are poking out. And then we have this honking monster. This is a 50 millimeter VS Racing blow-off valve that we're going to be running. And getting rid of the little Greddy that I had on there. I'm not getting rid of the Greddy because it's like a 90s OG Greddy blow-off valve. But it'll go on something else, probably the Honda, eventually. But we have the blow-off valve. We clocked the turbo. I'm going to have to notch a little bit more right here. There's a spot I Sharpied already to where the turbo can turn the way I want it to. And then we'll be able to run all our hard line for boost reference. But as far as right now goes, we're getting pretty close. I have the hose, the E85 rated fuel hose, so that I can come off of my my flex fuel sensor and run it over to my fuel rail. should be pretty simple. I gotta go pick up my plug wires, so we're gonna run to town and get the plug wires. I'm probably gonna have to buy some LS plug wires because I don't have any. We're gonna get a bunch of parts and then come back and see if we can get this thing started tonight. That's the goal. It's not gonna be able to drive anywhere because I don't have my thermostat housing, but we'll be able to drive the thing around the yard a little bit, maybe, if it doesn't make funky knocking, rattling noises, which I'm hoping this is a good motor. We pulled it apart and all the bearings look good, so we're gonna run it. Hopefully it's fine, but we'll be back when we get all the parts we need.
We have fuel.
We
check that regulator, make sure it's not leaking.
check everywhere.
Yeah, I need a light. Injectors.
Yeah, that one in my pocket.
That's a light.
Yeah, we had RPM signal immediately.
Did we?
Yeah.
Make sure the mushroom ain't leaking either.
No, we're good.
Watch out, Blaine. There you go. Hey,
Hold on.
Thermostat popped out.
Did it?
Yeah.
We got a vacuum leak. It idled up really, really high.
Alright, so as you can see, there's no motor in here now. We had it running, but I made a slight mistake that cost me a lot of money. And if you look down here, this transmission, there's a hole in it. Oh. Yep, there's a hole in it. So what happened was, I started it and I let the clutch out, which I shouldn't have done because there were no axles in it. So the axles hold the carrier up. And if you don't have the axles in, the carrier is just kind of chilling there, which it had a zip tie through it from the guy I bought it from, which was the right thing to do. But for whatever reason, I let the clutch out not thinking, and the carrier dropped down in the trans when the whole differential started rotating. And the carrier actually kicked the gear off and got jammed underneath the ring gear on the differential, and it tore everything up, blew a hole in the case. The carrier's underneath the differential. I can see it down in there. So that thing is trash. There's nothing we can do to save it. So that was an expensive boo-boo. However, we did get the valve cover painted. Zach got the valve cover painted. Turned out pretty good. It's a patriotic blue, I think is what it's called. It turned out good, just a kind of a quick spray to make it look better. Motor's still dirty as crap, but the clutch held up pretty good. Everything looks like it should. I don't see anything weird yet, other than all the metal shavings from me having to cut and notch the oil pan right there for that axle to clear, because otherwise it would not clear. So that's notched. There's a lot of stuff we had to do. We still got to plug these holes off for the cooling system. Had to plug the regulator off. There's just a lot of stuff that had to go on. The motor mounts are all custom. We got the drain line built. I mean, the turbo was hanging. It was literally running. It sounded good. I mean, it chopped. If you guys haven't seen the short I put up already, I'll stick it in here. But it sounded healthy, and the motor didn't have any funky noises. Had 65 pounds of oil pressure on cold start. I have no issues, no complaints about the motor, and no complaints about the trends. It's just they're not designed to run without axles in them. So that was my fault, and we're getting another one on the way from Illinois. So when we come back, hopefully we'll have the new trans, have it on, have the motor in, and be sticking axles in and ready to drive around the yard a little bit. And then we'll get the cooling system all sorted out and charge pipes, and I'll let y'all know, and we'll see how this goes. But until then, see you later.